Hi, I'm Alan. I'm recording this video on chesswithcleric.com and today we're going to be discussing a very famous tactic in the endgame. This tactic is known as the Marauding rook tactic. So first, before we discuss this, let's have a look at this position. So in this position, black is up a full rook and a pawn. And black has several checkmate in one threats. So rook h1 will be checkmate, rook a1 will be checkmate in 2. So at first glance, this position looks totally hopeless with the white pieces, because no matter what we do, on the next turn, black will checkmate us. So here I invite you to pause this video and try to find a drawing idea for white here. So in order to find the drawing idea, we have to notice one important thing about this position, and that is the fact that other than our rook, none of the other pieces have any illegal moves. So if this rook was taken off the board, it would be stalemate. So if we got rid of this rook entirely, then this position would be stalemate and it would be a draw. So this should lead us to figure out that in order to draw this game, we're going to try to find a way to sacrifice our rook. However, there are a few things we have to make sure don't happen while we sacrifice our rook. The first one is we have to make sure we don't sacrifice our rook in a way that gives our kings squares to move to. So for example, if we play rook h6, first of all, black could give checkmate like this. Oops, not like that. Like this. So it would be like, but more importantly, for the idea, black could play king takes h6. Now this position would no longer be stalemate, as our king would have the h2 square. So that's one example of how not to sacrifice our rook. Another thing we need to make sure happens is we need to make sure that black can't escape from the checks. So for example, the first and most tempting move would be something like rook b7 check. However, first of all, so black moves their king to, let's say, h6. And first of all, now this is no longer stalemate anymore, or won't be stalemate, as our king again has the h2 square to go to, because black's rook no longer attacks the h2 square. And second of all, after we check again, and king h5, now we have no more productive checks, because if we go rook h6 check to sacrifice the rook after king takes h6, it's not stalemate anymore, because we have the h2 square. So okay, now that we have all this in mind, let's try to find the best way to sacrifice the rook for white. And a good rule of thumb when doing these sacrifices is to put your rook on a square that's directly beside your opponent's king with check, so that's more difficult for them to escape. So after rook b7, black has lots of different escape options. However, after the correct move, rook g6, now black's options are very limited. Because first of all, if black takes the rook, then this position is stalemate and a draw. So now here black has 3 legal options, and we'll look at all of them. So the first and most simple idea is if black runs across, we'll simply keep checking them, and as long as our rook is 1 square away from the king, then they'll never be able to block with a rook or anything of that kind. And if black keeps running, we'll keep chasing. And this is going to be a very funny perpetual check, because it's a perpetual check where on every move they could take our rook, but if they took it, it would be stalemate. So that's the first option. The second option in this position, after rook g6 check, is king h8. And again, this would end very simply, because in this position, white could go rook g8. And now black only has one legal move, which is king takes rook, after which it will be stalemate. So this also would end in a draw. So black's last option in this position is king f8. And here we have to be a little bit careful. So again, we have to keep giving checks, because if we ever stop giving checks, we'll get checkmated. So we have 2 options here, rook f6 and rook g8. And I invite you to pause the video and figure out which one of these checks is more accurate. So if you said rook f6, you would be wrong, because after rook f6, we've broken the golden rule and made it so that the rook and the king are no longer directly beside each other. And the reason this is so important is because now we can simply block the check, and again our king has the h2 square now, so this wouldn't work. So that's why we have to play rook g8, where after king e7, white could play, again we go rook e8, not rook g7, because after rook takes, again we would have the h2 square. And now this game simply ends, because wherever black's king goes, we follow it with check, and there's simply no way to escape. No matter where black goes, there's no escaping. And this will end in a draw. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.